Oh, cool. This is good. This is good. Cool.
Okay. Good. We'll have 4 people arrive early. Hi guys, we're going to start programming in 4 minutes. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And everyone can hear us clearly, right? But I hope the sound works all right though.
Lovely. We see from Hey. Yes. Hey. See under the chat box. Why?
Huh?
You see the chat box? There's the chat box.
Oh right.
So
oh yeah, I got it.
Oh, perfect. Because is there like a set bar? I think floating like closer to.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, that's good. Okay.
I'm also playing with the virtual background today.
This is nice. We set up this trend since last time, Jiayu.
Yeah.
And then now we all have to go on green after her.
I also did this.
Oh gosh.
Maybe this is.
Oh god, yeah, oh my god, this is nice. You need a mask though. That kind of works.
Yeah.
I should have that as well. I only have a fake.
Yeah.
And that's all.
No, we like this, studio feeling. This is great. Actual setup. I think, virtual backgrounds should be a thing now, because of Zoom, because of all the meetings.
Yeah. But for my one, there's like nothing on this.
Maybe we do this.
Okay.
Because I was watching the movie last night, The War of Susie Wong.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't really watch the full movie, but I was watching it yesterday.
Oh, this is good. I've watched it 1,000 times. Not 1,000, but just like.
But I was also trying to match the snapshots. I find exactly the shots you were using in the work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, kind of, I need to find this out. I need to find that.
Okay. That's good. Hold on. I think I missed the data point. Let me pick it up.
Okay.
I guess we can just play this video for a bit.
Yeah.
And then while waiting.
Sure.
I can play for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, feel free to play any. So maybe we can wait for another minute before we start. And for all the friends joining us right now, what you see here is the desktop of Flowai. And I think towards the end of tonight's data visit, we will have some time to see some of the videos, right? So here are just, the small sections of those, but later we can watch more clips. And tonight, towards the end of the studio visits, maybe around like 9:45, 9:50, we will open questions to everybody. So by the time, you can just feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions to our artists directly. But during the talk, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box. Just type in the questions. I can help read, or we can answer together by the end. Maybe we can start.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us at this time, though. My name is Wai, and today I think I'm gonna present some of the recent work that I've been working on, and then some of the work which are still a work in progress. And I would like to start with a video, which is like an earlier starting point of what gonna lead afterwards. So I'm gonna share you guys with that. Wait. Okay, here we go. And this is about a 3-minute video.
Hi, I'm Wang, the Chinese farmer. Hi.
Why you have to unmute yourself? Otherwise, we cannot hear the sound. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, and you have British cops too. Okay, now let me see what you've got.
Well, I wish I could be a movie star one day. And here I am, finally. And now I'm tired of being Susie Wong. I'm with you now, Master.
That's good. We are going to fight the evil. Let's gather our fellow. Hey, here I am, Master. Hey, I'm in too, Master. Ta-da! But you could never destroy me. but I am invincible on the screen. Let me join you. Let's kill them all. Oh God, where am I now? God, I was trying to kill them all. Shit. And now, shall I kill them? Or shall I rescue them? Oh shit, I'm so confused. Hey, and now I got a new job. You don't recognize me, right?
Okay. So let's see. So this is it. And then basically the video on the left was a piece that I made earlier in 2019. And I can briefly talk about how this is about.
Yeah, I'd love to know, because I see some of the images are not only appearing in like this work, but also in like earlier work. So it feels like there's a like long-term interest in many of the imagery, because it looks like many are taken from movies, taken from the like older Hollywood movies, and some are, I think, can recognize as, you know, things from Hong Kong. So do you want to talk more about the images?
Yeah. And I can, wait, maybe I can show you this one. Hold on. Sorry, it got stuck. So
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, and I can briefly show you how this works like being developed. It was basically starting from my interest on looking at how Hollywood cinema, from the early 20th century to nowadays, portray Chinese and also including Asian sort of character as well. And it was starting from looking into early Hollywood movie. One of the earliest one I found is called Brooklyn Blossoms. It was made in 1990. And I'll just quickly go through it. And in earliest time, like most of the Chinese character, they were portrayed by like Caucasian actor or actresses. And mainly due to part of it, like from my understanding, would be a marketing reason. As at those time, Asian couldn't really like be accepted to be seen as the main character of a major movie. And then it's due to like marketing reason and also like box office considerations as well. But also apart from that, there were like also a lot of like racial like dimension discussions as well. And then in early stage, there was a really different portrayal of Chinese. There were like evil Chinese character and like in relation to like a scientific sort of scientist sort of character, but it's like enacting something quite evil, but no one could understand like how he got the magics and such. But also at the same time, there was like good Chinese being portrayed in the movie as well. For example, like the Good Earth. Those characters are being portrayed as a really like hardworking sort of with a positive attitude, towards Chinese. And then after the Fu Manchu, there were also a lot of like cross-British contacts, and in relation to Hong Kong contacts, Hollywood production. And this is one of a Hollywood production which was made in 1955. And it was this adventure movie. And they were part of it. It was shot in Hong Kong. And also they also include this colonial context within the movie as well. As you can see, that would be like a British cop, as the clips was like I clocked and imposed in my previous video. And then later on, it comes the most influential and most well-known Hollywood production, which is about Hong Kong and being shot in Hong Kong. The Will of Susie Wong, which was made in 1960s. And that was actually adapted from a British novel, which was written in 1959. And the novelist was actually lived in Hong Kong for many years. And so the story was, it was a little bit about like a slash biography writing. It was somehow based on what he experienced in Hong Kong, but also including how he fantasized Hong Kong as well. So it was like, it goes hand in hand. And then there was another one. I want to jump into here. And during the 80s, there was, since Blade Runner, as many people know, like they started to adopt a lot of like East Asian symbols and aesthetics into a movie, which is in relation to portray a futuristic city, but mostly it's a dystopian city per se. And there was a time that we can worldwide audience, and also we can see a lot of symbol, which is apart from being taken from Tokyo, there was also a lot of symbol being taken from Hong Kong as well, and being merged into the movie. And that was also like a transition for me to think about why they started to use Hong Kong as one of the elements. But also at the same time, some of the production, they were still continuously using the symbol which was being built from the early 20th century to early 80s as well. There was this another overlapping of this really conventional Orientalist element, but also this futuristic looking being merged together. And from then on, there will increase amount of movie that, particularly sci-fi movie, they would choose to shot in Hong Kong. 2008, The Dark Knight, there was a lot of scene they were being shot in Hong Kong. And Total Recall, I'm not sure if, maybe this is less popular than the other movie, but I found it intriguing that like, this movie that has a huge mixture of Korean symbol and like Japanese symbol, and also like Chinese characters as well. It's all this like mixed East Asian sort of aesthetics. They've been put into this dystopian city in the movie.
This also makes me think of how do you call it? 九龙城寨. So like the architecture, the mass, the collectiveness of it.
Yeah, sure. And also that aesthetics, like this sort of portray continue later on as well as like in other movies.
Hi, Y.
Just made of aesthetics, but as well as this really huge like the real futuristic cityscape of Hong Kong, and all this like all sort of like old and new scenario of Hong Kong. They try to like they just try to merge into this movie, and like the old Hong Kong, which is related to this like slam and dungeon, and always in relation to crime, and all that, and then like the one on the right.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that too, because also today you're dressed up in how you're seeing in the videos on the right side. So seems like to me you're also, you know, performing or reacting the characters on the left side in the movie. So like, what is this action about?
Oh yeah, I can talk about it in a bit, and then yeah, you're right. I was like referring to this image. Anyway, that was like the scenario. They were mostly wanted to merge with fighting scenes, and that's another example of how they use the city as like a battleground in the Hollywood production, and there is like a huge the Hollywood are really into it of using this in the way that to set up this like interesting battleground.
This is very close to Quarry, I think. Very close to where we work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's been featured in a lot of Hollywood movies as well, I'm sure. But not just Hollywood, a lot of like different productions in different countries. And then I think the recent most famous one, as everyone knows, is Ghost in the Shell. Almost like 80% of the movie was shot in Hong Kong. And just last 2 bit.
I love this.
You watched that?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I watched it several times. Yeah.
Well, I accidentally found it. I watched it when I was in the U.S. It was shown on Netflix, and this is a series called The Witness. Basically, there was different animator. They would produce a short film. Those are all animated stories, and there was a story which had this backdrop of actually where I live right now in Hong Kong, and then it was interesting to see like how they would want to like merge this into the storyboard. And for the last one, I want to mention that there was just one example of dozens of video games. They were also set by the background and the story in Hong Kong. And for me, as I understanding, like the most well-known one is called Sleeping Dogs, and I play it a bit as well, and that's it. So this is like a brief backdrop of how
the original images.
Yeah, how this one was being developed. And of course, like I guess as everyone knows, there are a lot more other related materials within this context as well. So right now, this is just like part of the materials that I gather. Yeah, so it all starts from here, basically. And interesting enough, when I was making this, I was basically using an app which is developed from a technology called deepfake. And deepfake was this technology that is this AI technology that could locate your facial expressions, and then they can locate other materials like facial structure as well, and then they can merge your face into and other materials that you want to impose your face on. And now I can show a little bit of
how the deepfake technology really works. Yeah.
I guess many people knows, but
I mean, it's a funny name, deepfake.
Yeah. And this is like going a lot more vital, and as year after years, the technology has been developed way much advanced than before, just within a short period of time. And that is actually frightening at the same time as well. But let me show you this.
Is you basically, you feed into the system a whole bunch of images of the person you want to retarget on the right. You have somebody who is the puppet master on the left, and it synthesizes whatever you want. And then I superimpose into that a voice synthesis of President Putin, President Trump, whomever it is. And now you've got some very powerful technology.
So who makes this next generation of deepfakes? Isn't it people in academia who are advanced?
Okay. Let's stop here. Yeah, that is actually another sort of concern that also led me into looking into AI sort of development, but as a consumer, but not as a creator of it. So I started to try on like different apps at a really like consumer-friendly level. This is what's made by an app that I found on iPhone. Yeah.
Also, there are actually a lot of like apps can make this technology very accessible.
Yeah, it's true. Hold on. So, in thinking about this also virtual reality, like how it's like interfering how we experience everyday life, and to distinguish what is real and what is unreal, which is going to be much harder and harder. From thinking about this, I wanted to make a character which was actually I guess when everyone see it, like some of the people might think this video actually came from how I perform from here, and then it traces the data point and then or turn the video.
Yeah.
But actually it's not.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically this is a video that I made afterward according to what I changed or turned in the original video. And based on that, I would perform what was made from here.
So you mean what we see on the left side is actually altered, I don't know, by different computer programming?
Yeah.
Oh, and then the performance is like really comes after like the complete of like completing the video editing?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So basically what's happening here, the data point, it has no function, and this is just as how it is.
Oh, so like meaning what you're wearing right now is pretty much the same setup when you were like in this green screen.
Yeah.
Production, so everything just fake.
Yeah. Well, but apart from the diving suit that I got from Amazon, because they were great.
Diving suit. Oh, okay. Wow, it looks very professional.
Well, everything was like something I got from Amazon, and it's actually based on a making of a movie that I saw on the internet.
Yes, what is it?
I can show you. Wait. Mm.
Than capturing a performance from a real human.
Performance capture gives you the body and the weight and the realism of the expressions.
The way the performance capture process worked is we had a number of cameras placed around the set that would record markers on the actor's physical body. The system would interpret that marker and put it into three-dimensional space and create a skeleton to go inside a CG model to drive that CG model's performance.
This body, it has the power I need. I feel a connection to it. I can't explain.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's from Alita, how Alita is really, the character is created and also, how do I say, like modeled here.
Yeah. When I was watching this, as you can see, the actress Rosa Salazar, and she was actually performing herself, but like at the end she was just this materials behind what's gonna be generated on top of her skin. Even everything was based on her, but she doesn't like actually appears as the end product. She was this making of something else. It could say like, it seems like she's like a used material somehow.
Sorry, does that mean like, because what is captured is really her movement. So even, like, I think like the character's face and her face looks very similar, but it means it's really the movement help the animators to do the work, but I mean, the final product's not really her performing. It's just, you know, technicians use her movement to generate this character. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. And then I really like this in-between position of this character. So I made this pre-CGI body of myself. But in reality, this pre-CGI body, actually, it does nothing. But in reverse, it was they were actually reperforming what was made previously. And then in a way, I've been thinking about like this position of who manipulating who. But also, this video was actually turned by me already, and then I try to reenact this again. And yeah, it's this like really interesting position that I'm really interested in. Yeah. Well, I wish I would know how to actually use that as like a real data point, and then to transform myself into a CGI, but I think don't have that knowledge to make that happen.
Definitely should. I just feel like, you know, this could be, I don't know, more friendly in LA because there's so many studios there, or if you can try somewhere, I don't know if the film industry also, I mean, probably everywhere has this technology, but if we have any filmmakers here online, please share resources in the chat box. Oh, actually, someone said, come to SCM, we have a mocap lab.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I know that. I was told. Can you give me access? I really want to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Hey.
Hey, right. Okay, I'm gonna be in touch with you.
Yes.
Cool. This is cool. But, and also I forgot to mention that was a wait. There was also some other elements that was inspiring me to make this character. And I've been looking into Hito style quite a lot last year, and then that's one sentence that really sticking to my mind was that she was giving this lecture a year ago at a university in the U.S. and she's doing this is it a lecture performance? It's called the Bubble Vision, and basically she was trying to talk about how historically like, human beings has been always inspired or obsessed with this 360-degree vision. It was also found in like early paintings from, if I remember correctly, that's from like 17th century, early 17th century, like this magic ball, like this green, not green, but transparent magic ball that can tell you about the futures. And then like nowadays, with the VR technology, like we all having this vision of like 360 degrees. This is also shaping like how we starting to understand another dimension of reality. But in this reality, she points out that the person like us who's within this vision is invincible, invisible, because you when you put on this VR goggles, you couldn't see yourself, and you are the only subject who's being transparent into the systems. This is what. Sorry, that's a lot of things.
I was about to ask us in the first desktop screenshots, we see some works or mixed reality works.
Yeah, and I'll show that later on as well. Wait, my computer is not following me. Why? This is how technology works, you see. Which is great, I guess it's trying to show something that he or she or they want to show.
Oh, it has intelligence now.
Yeah, instead of like following what I'm trying to do here. Okay. Sorry, and back to what I mentioned that the sentence that is sticking to my mind was this sentence that she said during this lecture. People rehearsing basically how to be their own goals. This is also another trigger that makes me starting to fall into thinking about how we see virtual reality and in relation to how we experience our surroundings right now.
Yeah, because I know you're exploring other apps or other technology to realize some of the imagery you're thinking of. Are you going to show us some of the works in progress?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. Yes. Let me see. Where? Okay, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of like virtual reality, I wanted to like, as a consumer, I wanted to explore what is available in the market, and it's accessible to everyone right now. And then I started to play with like 3D scanning apps and like VR apps that everyone can easily find on iPhone or like other consumer technology platforms. And by finding those apps, and I have like I try to use the app to scan myself, and this is like some of the clips that I showed.
Do you have to hold the camera when you're like being scanned, or someone else can help scanning you?
I need to have someone, and also for this app that I use, I have to print out like a grid, a black and white grid that I have to place underneath of myself, for the app to locate which point to scan, and then someone have to go 360 to use the phone to sort of scan me. But as they scan, actually they were just continuously taking picture while my friend was like going around my body, and at the end they would use those pictures. Those are like 2D images, and they will use those 2D images to stitch together to form these 3D models. But at the same time, like I would say, this technology is like co-producing of this end product as well. It's not like fully under my control, and it's also like really determined by how the speed goes and how fast the system could generate the model. And each time could generate really like different and intriguing model.
Yeah. I'm curious because we're kind of, talking about this 3D scanning. Also, I guess we're also going to cover more on the mixed reality soon. But I'm also curious, like, is this gonna be a part of your work you're currently working on? Or like, what is the relation with the previous video you were showing with us?
Oh, those are actually the materials. It comes along with other materials that right now I'm working on. But I'm still like sorting out how it's going to like turn eventually. So right now I'm more like still exploring the possibility like with different dimensions. Yeah. And also from the scanning that I did, I used the model to actually make the 3D print the actual 3D like objects from what the apps was generated. And from this scanning, it turns out to be like this. So it was interesting to see how I was being transformed, because from the early image of like me sitting there, and then to like have something turns out at the end like this. It was really like intriguing to me, and also as all these things it's being really accessible right now, and it's definitely going to be a lot more accessible later on. You know, that's another thing I found it online was that, you know, that's a portrayal of future family albums.
Oh, you mean like you can scan your family, print the sculptures, and put them all together?
Yeah.
Oh.
And this seems to be like something which we're gonna be seeing soon, like yeah, in near future. This is what they are starting to do right now with family album, and they have like everyone in the family like printed out as this objects, and then yeah, have the face and bodies like attached like that.
It's fascinating because do you remember like when we're little, there's always those craftsmen, they make like made out of you in clay, like in the colored clay, right? Like on a stick. But seeing those is just like, you know, a whole another level of, you know, technological improvement.
I guess this is like how we're going to see in the future. But this is also really interesting was that like I want to refer to Hito's style again as one of her early lectures in 2013 that I watched online was she was talking about how we actually forget like 2D photography changed our way of perceiving ourselves and our surrounding. Before photography exists, like we see everything as like 3D, but once like photography existed, we started to see ourselves in 2D dimension, which actually was never experienced or never happens before. And now we're tending to go back to 3D, but it's like this 3D of not really accurate. It was interesting to see how all this is shaping a new understanding of our relationship and of our relationship with the reality right now. Yeah.
So as we're also approaching to like 9:45, do you want to talk more about this group, or shall we start opening our questions to the audience?
Oh, yeah. Oh, at the end, I wanted to show.
Yeah.
This is the end. Right. Sorry about like getting stuck with my laptop. Yeah. I cleaned it up early on, but it's still running quite slow. And back to what I showed in the beginning of my studio visit. Like, yeah, back to what it is like here. Yeah, at the end, I wanted to show what these other current materials that I'm working on right now. And all these materials was based on this pre-CGI body, which left the studio and then to encounter this reality. This is something that I have right now, but I wanted to show you guys.
Now I can see there's numbers on your face.
Oh yeah, I kept having this on my face in small screen, right? Drop this. Yeah, so basically, this is it. What it's showing right now is an extension of what I showed in the beginning. And this is something that I'm also working on right now. I'm trying to find a line to tell this experience of this CGI body and what they were actually experiencing right now, and also how they found their existence, and also memories, and also how they encounter reality as well. So, yeah.
I'm curious, like, do you see yourself as yourself, like in those movements, or do you see yourself as a CGI body?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question though.
I'm just thinking of it.
I guess both. I see myself as myself, but a certain degree, I also have this experience, I would say, like being as a pre-CGI person in real life. Yeah, as you encounter certain certain assumption or judgment that being put on top of your skin, which is not something that you generated, I would say. Yeah.
Just watching some of the clips here can make me relate to like the like I can totally imagine like the fully animated or the full CGI images can the character can totally do the same thing. Because I think it's very ambiguous right now. You know, the boundary is really blurred, especially after you give us this tour of how you getting deeper to this different kinds of technologies. So I think our participants, you can just feel free to unmute yourself, or let artists know if there's any videos you wanna
enlarge. Or
yeah, okay, enlarge. Or if you have questions, you can just ask directly. Don't feel shy, just ask.
Yeah, feel free. My cat just yelled. Yeah.
Well, maybe I can start the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, well, you're now in Hong Kong, but I think all those new works, all those new thoughts really developed during your MFA study in New York. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now I see like many sites, like in the screenshots here, also like in the New York subway, your apartment, also your studio. So do you want to share more about your experience in New York and how this really, I don't know, shape what you're thinking, what you're working on today?
I guess it was, first of all, I think the focus and the discussions and the content was quite different from what how I experienced in Hong Kong. And yeah, and of course, it's a total different region. But the experience that allows me to actually put myself into really different positions that it was different from how I position myself in Hong Kong. And I wouldn't say which one is better, which one is like, there's no hierarchy, but it was, I would say maybe somehow it's like this character that I created is, I feel that I'm always like in transition it's in a transition that you want to locate certain things, but it's harder than how I previously experienced everything when I was like based in Hong Kong for many years. Yeah, and also that triggers a lot of like other concerns and understandings of so many different subjects, issues, and things that I would never. So I think I've never encountered in Hong Kong, I would say. Yeah, but I guess also for people who based there, they wouldn't have the experience of what I can encounter and experience in Hong Kong as well. So yeah, I think I gain a lot from this in-between position in this passing 2 years. And I'm still finding a way to locate a lot of things right now. Yeah.
Also, we have more questions coming up in the chat section. So we have a question to why. I was wondering, in what ways does your interest in visual technology and the change of perception connect to the racial issues shown in the first video?
I think for me, this is Chang's question. I think for me, as I mentioned before, there was this CGI character that in a way is always in transition. It's something that couldn't become like the end product, but it's always in transitions of being put on like different features or different content on top of how they performed. And in certain way, I think this is strongly related to how I think about racial contact. So, yeah.
And I'll also read the next question. So from Hey, how do you play all these videos at the same time on a desktop? Open menu.
That's a good question. No, I mean, basically, it's easy. You can do it with the QuickTime player. You just open it all, and then once you open each of them, you just go on top and click loop. And I unmute it and say it.
This is actually
So I just individually open all of them and then drag them into smaller screen, and then click play for each one.
Chang also asks another question. And if you were able to work on green screen materials into productions, as in the Hollywood sci-fi films, what do you plan to do?
I don't know yet. I guess I wanted to stay on the low-tech side of all this high-tech technology. That I'm only borrowing it like from how it looks, but nothing actually functions here.
But I mean, what if like we have the equipment, we have a technician or a group of technicians can help you realize anything you want to do? Is there a narrative, or is there like a full story you want to act, perform, or direct? Or
not I guess maybe not for now, because right now I think I want to experience or portray the reality that this character is going through right now. and maybe later on, they would go back to the virtual reality again. But I guess just not at this moment, at this point. But we can do it as fun though, for fun.
Definitely. Because like from my perspective, I see like a lot of your works or like your focus kind of transferring or maybe you know, different practice on technology, on screen-based work. But I know like you started really with like a lot of photography work, a lot of painting work as well. So just, you know, want to ask you, do you see yourself focusing more on which mediums, or is there any like we're going to explore more or focus more after this project, or what takes you to something deeper?
I think there's a lot I wanted to play with right now. Maybe gaming would be the next goal. I guess like that. That might take me a whole life to learn that. Well, I know many artists who are engaged with that like tools and contacts as well. Oh, that may be something that I can try on in the future. But
yeah, because I think in New York I've seen several like very interesting, like, you know, game artists like Ian Chen is more of a game artist, I don't know, but definitely more participatory. And another artist, he did this work called Little World or something. Anyway, we can have a separate chat on this. Well, let's call for maybe last questions.
It's clear I see some familiar names. Thanks for joining.
Well, we have a really critical question. Do you think photography is dying?
Oh, hey, I like you though. I really want to meet you in person. I don't think so. I think this medium still has a lot to explore. I don't think any medium which can ever reach to an end, as long as there's artists who are using a certain medium, that would always comes into like new dimension or like new exploration of that medium. Yeah, and it's just like there's still a lot of dimensions that I think it needs to be or it can be explored. But it's just, for me, I wanted to like try out a lot like different tools in relation to what I wanted to say and I wanted to explore. And I wouldn't want to like restrict myself to like one certain mediums, I would say right now. Yeah. Well, I certainly don't think photography is dying.
Yeah, I agree with you, because, you know, photography is also a technological invention, and what we're like using, or what you're using right now, is kind of adding new layers to this very basic medium. I don't know, developing it in a like more yeah, in different ways. All right. Well, maybe to wrap this up, do you have any news or any things you want to share with us? Are you going to show anywhere? Like, how can we like keep updated on your work? or on your news?
Oh yeah, maybe everyone can. I can type my website and IG, and if you're interested, please follow. And also in later, like next 2 months, in July, some of my work's going to be participating in the Yokohama Triennial. So if you happen to be there or going there, yeah, please pay attention.
Are we going to see some of the works you showed today?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Wait. Let me.
Yeah. You can tap in the chat box.
Oh, so hey, is Jiayu. Thanks for asking all the questions. And I see everyone. It's like, hi, Michelle. Hi, Jingwen. Hi, Priscilla.
I have a lot of friends joining.
Oh, thanks for coming by. This is sweet.
Thank you, guys. Do we have a last question? If no, shall we call it a night?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wai. Thank you for sharing. And we're very looking forward to see your new exhibition.
Yeah, thank you all. And sorry that I promised Jiayu to do like a karaoke session. Let's do it next time though.
Really? We can give you another 3 minutes.
We can do Zoom karaoke next time.
Yes, let's do it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Thanks everyone. Take care, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, Taka. Sorry.
一个欢送亲友的。Close 了，拜拜。